Oh, we lost. Shalom, shalom, Israel. Clap it up. Again, this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under Commander Juliana. We've been teaching this trip since 1969. That the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are in fact the true biblical Jews of the Bible. And that our oppressor, the people that harm us, unalive us, oppress us, those people are in fact the devil, the deceiver of the earth, and the devil that the Bible speaks of, you understand?
Right.
It's a lot of so-called liberation going on in the earth. So-called, why do you might ask yourself, so why does he say so-called liberation? Because this so-called liberation is absolutely selective. That's why that title that you see on tonight's screen is very imperative and important. We can give me Genesis. I wanna give me started. Genesis 41 and 51. We'll start there with Manasseh. You might look at the title like, what they talking about? Cuba. What they got to do with Manasseh? You know what I mean? The tribe of Manasseh, right? Little do you know, you may not recognize and understand, but we have identified the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, all the way from Judah, all the way down to Issachar, you understand? And this brother right here, Manasseh, is known in the earth also. Your brother, the so-called Cuban, have we forgot about our brothers, man? It was a popular thing to be fist in the air and all about rights and liberation, right? Back there in the 70s, it sounded like we didn't forgot about our brothers, though, right?
Right.
It was real fresh and hip on the scene, right? Cuba back then, they had what's the name down there playing the trumpet. They had Dizzy Gillespie down there playing the trumpets with the Cubans and everything like that. I can dig it. It's a cultural joint, but it's like that was a hip thing to do. Now it's like we didn't forgot though.
Right.
We didn't forgot about it ain't in the news no more. We didn't forgot about Mexico, right? It's in the news now because the president is a female. Whoop-de-doo, right?
Right.
Whoop-de-doo. I got a female president. Guess what? They still putting your children in cages. They're still putting your children in cages, man. Treating us like cattle, man. Shipping us all throughout the earth, all throughout the states, like you know, and separating families, man. Right? Let me get back on point, though. The 12 tribes of the nation of Israel have been identified, and one of those 12 tribes, one of those brothers, is right here down there in Cuba. You understand? You can read that.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 51.
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh.
Who?
Manasseh.
Manasseh is your brother, black man. Manasseh is your brother. You's a Judite, so-called Negro in America. Your brother is the Cuban man. And all them northern tribes too, man, them Puerto Ricans, they're going to be mentioned also. Go ahead.
For God said, He hath made me forget all my toil
All my toil, man, all my, sorrow, you understand? Go ahead.
and all my father's house.
The tribe of Manasseh, you got to remember, black man. You got to understand, the oppressor not only oppresses the entire earth, but he oppresses us too. You got to look next door sometimes, you understand?
Right.
They putting all this liberation, it's all relevant. It's all true. You can see it. You can see the crimes that's being committed against the Palestinians. You can see the crimes that's being committed against the people in Congo. You can see the crimes that's being committed in the countries in Africa.
Right.
You can see the crimes that's being committed against the Ukrainians. Those are publicized crimes, and those people are postered as actual victims. But as far as the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man, we are viewed as the problem. We are viewed as the issue. It's damn near like we deserve our oppression. That's how they skew it, you understand? When I was growing up, man, they made it seem like Cuba was a horrible place.
Right.
Cuba, yeah, they got dictatorship in Cuba, and they don't let you eat steak on Tuesdays. Like they was saying some crazy stuff.
Right.
Propaganda. Just like Officer Mathun was bringing out a couple of weeks ago. Propaganda. They tried to bring the propaganda. They tried to bring the propaganda with the Israeli and Palestinian conflict, but TikTok got a hold of that. Now the whole earth is pissed off.
Right.
That's why they're trying to shut down certain social. They're trying to monitor and like control the flow of information. That's why social media is so dangerous.
Right.
I think it's about it's a China app. If you got a phone in your pocket, that's China. Okay, so forget about it.
Right.
You got a Samsung, Nokia, whatever, Motorola. Listen, you got China in your pocket. You understand? So don't get it twisted. You understand? You got any more on that? Was it anything on 52? Ephraim? Oh, you can go to Ephraim.
Genesis chapter 41, verse 52.
Uh-huh.
And the name of the second called he Ephraim.
Ephraim. Who was Ephraim? Your brother, the so-called Puerto Rican, you understand? And listen, in Genesis, the 49th chapter, you're going to get all the brothers here. You can see it right here behind me, Judah all the way down to Issachar.
Right.
But we're not going to go through all of them. Tonight's class, we focusing on our brother Manasseh, which is our brother, the Cubans, you understand? Which is our Cuban brothers.
Right.
Bear with me one second. I'm going to try to get this going. Bear with me one second. There we go. I'm going to be live on TikTok in a second too, y'all. But y'all all this pro liberation for the we get so caught up in the propaganda and the fad and what's popular and what's popping, right? Not saying what's happening to the Palestinians is right. Not saying that they not going through a horrific thing, but it's like, how you going to sit up here this whole time talking about you all about liberation, you all about freedom, and you up there going to sit and you up there eating Thanksgiving dinner. You understand? How in the hell is you going to sit up there? You talking about you fighting for liberation, and you up there celebrating Columbus Day?
Right.
How in the hell you up there talking about you for liberation and freedom and all that madness? Meanwhile, you forgot about your brothers on the border. You forgot about your brothers in Central and South America. With America, we don't understand. We talking about all this liberation stuff, right? Hold on. I'm gonna edit this real quick. Hey, bear with me. You got 1,000 cameras in this joint.
Right.
But we talking about all this liberation talk, which is fine. Also, you already know which is fine and dandy. But don't sit up there and tell me you about liberation and you about freedom and you about all of these things, and you let the crimes of humanitarian crimes slide in the country of Cuba.
Right.
The same thing on the very borders of the United States, right? I'm talking about free Palestine, free the Cubans, though. And not only that, the UN been voting since the 60s to abolish the embargo.
Right.
We don't even know that. Outvoting, we was just talking about this, outvoting America and Israel, they've been right alongside each other, voting for the embargo since the 60s. But they can't be what? You just said it earlier. They can't be vetoed.
Yeah, it can't be vetoed.
Mathun, what does that sound like to you? You mentioned it earlier.
It sounds like a communist regime.
Now that
Call it a regime.
Mathun said that sounds like a communist regime, and they was upset at talking about the missile crisis, the so-called missile crisis in Cuba. The Soviet Union been gone for decades.
Yeah.
What is your excuse now? We're talking about cutting off medicine and food. We're talking about trying to demolish an entire infrastructure for oil. How much oil God damn it, man. They took over our oil fields. We gotta cut them off. Talking about women and children resorting to horrible things to get money, yo. Come on, yo. UPK the only cats want to talk about it, yo.
Right.
We the only cats that's going to talk about our brothers on the border. Only cats that's going to talk about our Cuban brothers. Only cats going to talk about the Chileans, the Brazilians, and so on and so forth. Shit. So I said, excuse my slur, excuse my curse. But the only brothers talking about brothers.
Right.
Talking about the Negro also. We up here living deliciously, man, having a good time, thinking it's all gravy. I'm all for a good time, but it's like, bro, you ain't got no sense to talk or think about anything outside of Atlanta Housewives. You ain't got no sense and no got a brain cell in your mind to say something about something that's going on the earth, but you talking about goddamn Drake and Kendrick Lamar. You got two brain cells. You got two goddamn brain cells. You're smoking too much goddamn weed. That's your problem. Shouldn't be smoking at all. And let me get off of my thumb. They gonna start getting mad. Now, when you start talking about that weed, hold up now, you know that's a plant though. It ain't the same. It come from the earth. You's a goddamn dummy. You's a goddamn dum-dum. You're putting smoke in your lungs, dummy. Your lungs is for oxygen.
Right.
And anything that ain't oxygen is supposed to filter it out so it can be healthy to, yo. You got doctors, yo. You got doctors with medical degrees giving out weed cards. Yo, what is this place called? Listen, it's all medicinal. It's medicinal. All right, if it's so medicinal, put it in a goddamn pill like everything else you do. Everything else is in the goddamn liquid form or a pill, but no, listen, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're a goddamn junkie. Just admit you want to smoke and you want to get high. I was one of them cats. Well, you know, listen, I'm gonna get on the with my thumb. I'm gonna get on the topic. I promise. I gotta say this though. Well, you know, it was made to make clothes and paper, and you know the lumber industry. The hemp industry was demolished through the lumber industry. Okay, show me the paper you done made with the hemp. Show me the paper. Show me the clothes you done made with the hemp. Then show me the company you trying to run with hemp jeans and hemp tennis shoes. Exactly. I know. Trust me. I know. I've been there. It's fine. You're delusional. Stop lying to yourself. You want to be high and get high. You got two goddamn brain cells. And the two brain cells just want to talk about Atlanta Housewives and Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's the capacity it can hold. So I'm off it up. I'm off it up. I'm off it. But what was I mentioning though? Manasseh, right? I didn't even get on that yet. But we talking about all this liberation stuff.
Right.
That's what I was on. All these tribes here have suffered the same oppression. Cuba, Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Haitians still got to pay the French to this day. You understand? Argentinians, our brothers the Gadites, have we forgot about them? And you standing on the North American Indians' land and you talking about free Palestine. You talking about free Palestine and we standing on the bones of the North American. How hypocritical of you.
Right.
What they trying to do to the goddamn Palestinians, they did this to somebody right next door to you. You can't even see them. You don't even know that a North American Indian exists. You think they extinct. You got something?
Yeah.
Like we think they don't even exist. You know what I mean?
Listen,
Go ahead. You got something? I'm a thumb. My thumb got. Go ahead.
think about it, right? If Israel gets brought up on those crimes, just like you said, then the question is going to be, well, what about America?
Right.
So that ban on TikTok, that keeping everything quiet off of TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
that is to keep it hush hush on America. Because Israel will say, if we don't get away with that crime, or we don't get away with these crimes, well, what about America?
What about America? Exactly.
About America.
Listen,
It's
my thumb's so right. They going to look at America. You got to look at America in the face now, right? What about your crime? And then Biden in that speech, he mentioned, yeah, America did this and America did that, but he wasn't really confessing. You know how horrible, there's so many horrible war crimes that we committed. Nobody pays for those crimes. It just happens and they forget about it. Why? Why is that? They say I'm cutting in and out. I got to get this mic closer. My bad if I'm in and out. You know what I need? I need a goddamn headset because I can't keep still up here. But this the thing. The war crimes, they talking about Israel got to investigate themselves. Don't that sound? They say that same thing on a local level. They say the same thing on the international level, on a national level. Same devils, same deceivers. Well, I know this is what happened. I know we saw the footage, but we're going to do an internal investigation, and we're going to. Why is that? Why do you got to do an internal? Why can't you be, the investigation be held by a foreign entity that's not biased? That's the whole point of internal affairs. And listen, they got so slick. The internal affairs in your city is in your police department. It's the police department. If you ever had to deal with the police to that extent, you're going to find out that internal affairs is not a separate entity from that particular police department. They have their own internal affairs within the Baltimore City Police Department. It ain't a separate entity on a local level. It's crazy, bro. Listen, yeah. Come on, man. Let me get off it though. I don't mean to be to clamor. That's too. Okay. All right. Listen. Let's go. Where we at? You want to get these articles in? But I mentioned that to say this. We'll start here. You want me to blow it up just a little bit? Boom. And I say that to say this. I'm gonna share my screen here so y'all can see the article that we about to pull up. I'm gonna pull up a wiki joint, and I'm gonna pull up another file from the UN. All right, let me make sure they see it on this end. Yup is up there too. So, all right, here we go. Nice and loud.
General Assembly concludes consideration of Cuba embargo with adoption of resolution urging states to repeal laws impeding trade navigation.
Impeding trade navigation here. Meaning what? They in total opposition of this embargo here. They in total opposition. This is on the United Nations official website. We ain't making this up. You want to read on? Let's get into this article a little bit. It's some key points that I'm gonna try to find so we can bring up.
The General Assembly today adopted its annual resolution calling for an end to the United States-led embargo on Cuba.
No, hold on. Meaning what? Annual meaning what? They do this every year. But what? Just like we mentioned earlier, America can be vetoed. The Israelis can't be vetoed. They got so much power, the whole United Nations, the whole earth said, hey, yo, chill. Nah. They like, nah, we good. Go ahead.
With speakers stressing the urgency of that action, including in the global economic insecurity following the COVID-19 pandemic.
That means it put an even greater, put them at a greater disposition. Not only was they starving the island, starving the country of resources, of raw minerals, raw materials, which a country needs. A country needs to. That's all throughout the Bible too. Solomon did traded with other nations. It ain't always in house. You need certain resources from multiple areas.
Right.
You need gasoline. You need oil. You need medicine. You need goods. You need all these things that you're gonna bring out as we read along. Go ahead.
And the need to meet the sustainable development goals.
Development goals. You can't develop if you can't trade. And the whole point of it was why? Or the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is the Soviet Union been abolished for decades. Now it look like to me, y'all just trying to starve a people. Just like they starving the Palestinians.
Right.
But they've been doing this for decades. But it ain't the 70s no more though. It ain't the 60s and the 70s, so all that liberation talk then died down, right?
Right.
Come on, man.
The action came on the second day of the Assembly's debate on the matter, which began on the 1st of November
Go ahead.
by a recorded vote of 187.
Hold up, whoa. We talking about every other nation except, come on, go ahead. Read that from the top.
By a recorded vote of 187
Mm-hmm.
in favor, 2 and 2 against the United States and Israel,
Mm-hmm.
with one abstention, Ukraine.
Meaning what? They withheld their vote. They like, listen, I'm out of this. Basically. Go ahead.
Look at that Ukraine, right? Why are they holding back on their vote?
Come on.
Because they need America.
Mm-hmm.
They need Israel.
They know damn well why they did that. They know damn well, and I think this was recent too.
Yeah.
This was the recent, so this was like during the war,
Yeah.
or before, or right during the war. So it's like, listen, I can't say nothing bad about America. I can't say nothing wrong about Israel. So look, I ain't voting at all.
Remember that war started in October.
Come on.
So this is in November, the following month.
Word.
So Ukraine needed the United States assistance and Israel assistance.
Mm-hmm. That's all that is.
The Assembly adopted the resolution titled Necessity of Ending the Economic, Commercial, and Financial Embargo imposed by the United States of America against Cuba.
Like, we think in our mind is like, oh, no boats can go over there. It's so much intertwining deeper than that, yo. Like, we talking, okay, say for example, right? What's a big company? Let's say Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola can't ship their goods to Cuba, right? But say Coca-Cola put their factory in Chile.
Right.
Now, okay, it's in Chile now. Chile can transport Coca-Cola to Cuba. Yo, this is how strenuous they made it even more over the years.
Right.
It's an American company. Even though it's in Chile, Chile cannot transport that Coca-Cola to Cuba. You see how evil that is? Now, let's talk about something that's more important than Coca-Cola. Medicine.
Right.
Food, goods, services, gasoline, things that, come on, you got more on this? Exactly.
It was listen to this. It was the 31st time the United Nations voted to end the embargo.
Come on, yo. This vote ain't like some common folk in the street. We talking about the representative of an entire country. Representatives of entire countries of the world. They created this United Nations for what? For peace and coming together and not starting a world war and not starting oppression as the Germans did, as other nations did in history, right? They said we got to put an end to this. We got to come together. If we can come together, we can end oppression. Hence the name United Nations. But you got something, please. You better explode. Go ahead.
Listen, man, it's amazing that we on this subject tonight.
Huh.
It said they created the United Nations to help all the nations and make it fair for all nations. But the word came out a few years ago that the United Nations was actually created to help European nations and to subjugate black and brown nations.
There you go. That's the truth. Subjugation.
So European nations can do what they want to do, and black and brown nations will have embargoes and sanctions placed on them. And basically, it's like what we go through here in America. Laws are created in America.
It's a smokescreen.
Exactly. Europeans can break the laws in America.
Right.
But black and brown people in America suffer under the law.
You gotta be in order. You gotta be in subjection. That term united is a smokescreen. Is a smokescreen. That matter of fact, that term, what's the term we use in America? Integration is a smokescreen. Freedom and democracy is a smokescreen when it's clearly not a democracy.
Right.
Let's get back to it. There you go.
Through the terms of the text, the Assembly reiterated it calls on all states to refrain from, what is that?
Oh yeah, to refrain. Promulgating.
And applying laws and measures of the kind referred to in the text preamble in conformity with their obligations under the UN Charter and international law.
Right. Like, they're all about this international law when it favors them. When it favors the Israelis, they all for it. When it favors America and them European countries, they all for it. But as soon as a brown country, hey, listen, hey, yo, y'all need to chill out. And everybody like, yo, what y'all doing? Y'all seeing it in real time with the Palestinians, but everybody forgot about the Cubans, though. My bad. But the UN, but the UN been talking about this for 30 plus years. They said 31 times, right up.
31, this was the 31st time.
31st time, good night, right? What was your liberation then, black man? I know the liberation was here. We talking about freedom from us. We've been talking about this liberation since the 60s, right?
Right.
We ain't let up on none of that. We've been fighting for freedom and liberation since the 60s for each of our tribes, each of our brothers back here. So all that stuff, you see that come up in the news, we've been talking about that.
Right.
We've been talking about the Cubans. We've been talking about the Brazilians, the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Guatemalans, the Panamanians. Look, you better watch these classes, y'all. You think it's a small thing, these classes, what we doing here, they talking about, oh, we got to spread it. We've been spreading awareness since the 60s, bro.
Right.
Come on.
It urges states that continue to apply such laws and measures to take steps necessary to repeal or invalidate them as soon as possible in line with their legal regime.
Man, now listen, these next couple of paragraphs, you're going to understand how cruel America is. Although their so-called allies, their so-called United Nations are against us. Go ahead.
Introducing the text L5, Cuba's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Bruno Eduardo Rodriguez Parilla, said that in last year alone, last year alone. Go ahead. The economic damage from the blockade blockade amounted to $4.867 billion.
4.867 billion. Y'all can see this on the screen here. This is what this blockade is doing. Go ahead.
$1 billion and has meant a dearth of goods, long lines, high prices, and devalued salaries, causing suffering among Cuban families, including sometimes devastating blackouts.
Come on, yo. Oh, it's the missile crisis. This is clearly oppression, yo.
Right.
All for what? For oil, for power, for notoriety. I remember growing up in grade school, they talked about Cuba like it was the goddamn devil, yo. Right. They talked about Cuba so bad. I'm like, yeah, get them. Oh, the embargo. They didn't teach about it. Like, it's sad that you gotta go. They doing it like you brought it up last week. God damn, you can't learn about nothing until you leave school.
Right.
Oh, this what them pilgrims was doing? That's what. Oh, damn. Okay. You got something with them?
Think about the propaganda when they made that movie Scarface. Remember, all of those refugees came from Cuba.
Word.
Those Cuban refugees bringing all of the drugs and everything else. They create a picture, and then they teach you that these people are evil.
Word.
So that when they make us believe that our own people are evil. That's the propaganda. That's the smokescreen that you was talking about earlier.
Come on. Let's get back. Go ahead. I think you're at the top here.
Okay, right, yeah. Sick people, including children and pregnant women,
Oh, go ahead.
are damaged by the choppy supply of medicines, the foreign minister said.
Like, listen. Like when you think embargo, you just think about potatoes, oranges. You know what I mean? Bananas. That's what they taught you in school. Well, we don't understand. They are starving a country of all goods. Go ahead. Sick people, including children and pregnant women,
Are damaged by the choppy supplies of medicines, the foreign minister said, adding that people have difficulties acquiring insulin, antibiotics, painkillers, and other medications.
Listen, these are things that you need to survive. These are basic necessities that you need to actually live. America got blood on their hands. They say this. They say God bless America. The hell is you talking about? This is if this is not a war crime, I don't know. If this is not a war crime, they talking about war crimes, right? That's all the talk on TikTok, right? That's all the talk on the social media, right? The UN said y'all need to chill. Now go ahead. Now John Hopkins, I don't see y'all protesting John Hopkins.
Right.
Well, I don't see the tents outside of John Hopkins for Cuba. What's the other big university down there? College Park. I don't see y'all protesting for Cuba, College Park.
Right.
College Park. I don't see y'all protesting for the kids in the cages, College Park. College Park. I don't see you protesting for the Haitians that's at the border, College Park.
Right.
John Hopkins. What's another big one down here? Baltimore. What is it? In this area. Loyola, forget about it. Morgan, I was getting at the Edomite one. Y'all too. Morgan want to be a white too. My bad. Morgan want to be an Edie so bad it's gross. It don't even feel like an HBCU no more. How gross they are. Don't get me started on Morgan, y'all. Don't get me started. I wanted to go there too. I can't believe it. Don't get me started on. They got that money and they didn't know how to act. All right, yo. Let me get it off here. Let's get to the point. Cause listen, we talking about war crimes of the Palestinians. We're not talking about the war crimes of America. We're not talking about the war crimes of this oppressor right here in your backyard.
Right.
We getting out of here soon, don't worry. Go ahead.
As Cuba is forced to buy medical supplies exorbitant
meaning third party after third party after third party, so much that it's diminished in value and in sterilization. You understand?
The U.S. government is lying when it asserts that the blockade does not prevent access to medicines or medical equipment, he said.
Meaning the UN is saying, yo, they are lying. This is the UN saying this.
Yeah.
This is a official report from the United Nations, and this is a report from a high-ranking official up there in Cuba. This is the Cuba's Minister for Foreign Affairs. Go ahead. Did I go too far?
During
Okay.
the most difficult period of the COVID-19 pandemic, Cuba could not import ventilators. He noted, adding that the U.S. government opportunistically used COVID-19 as an ally in its hostile policies against Cuba.
You see that? You see how cruel? In the time of everybody fighting together, all the world coming together against the vaccine. I mean, against the virus. And remember that time when the internet was all everybody coming together and everybody fighting against the virus. Meanwhile, they cutting off aid and medicine into a for what, yo? That's a war crime. That is like a political. I can't even say a war crime because it ain't war, but it is an act of war.
Actually, it is a war crime.
There you go.
When you commit a crime like that, that is an act of war against another nation.
There you go. That's an.
Right here, we can read this right here. It says, it is neither legal nor ethical for a government of a major power.
Hold up. It said it is neither legal nor ethical. Come on, yo. That is, if that don't describe a devil, I don't know what does. It's neither legal nor ethical for a government of a major power. Go ahead.
Subject a small nation for decades.
For what?
For decades.
Go ahead.
To ceaseless economic warfare.
Economic what?
Economic warfare.
There you go. They use the word.
That's the word right there.
That's war.
That's a war crime.
That's war, man. This is your this is your red, white, and blue. This is your pride and joy. My bad. Don't you be singing "God Bless America"?
They said Simone Biles is back.
They said Simone Biles is back in the flipping and tumbling in the what is it the Olympics. You know what I mean? And y'all see Simone Biles and you get USA, USA, and you up there chanting, right? Meanwhile, this is what you chanting for.
Yes.
Economic warfare. You know what I mean? To the point where children and pregnant women can't get medical supplies. Go ahead.
Also, the United States inclusion of Cuba on the list of state sponsors of terrorism extracts an economic toll on his country.
Come on, y'all. Y'all know that's a goddamn lie. You know that's a goddamn bold-faced lie. They like to throw these words around like it's actual factual, y'all. You know them Cubans ain't no damn terrorists, y'all. Why is America hating on Cuba so bad? They want that oil. They trying to grind them into the dirt so they can get that oil. Yeah. Go ahead. They want to do them like the Israelis doing the Palestinians.
Right.
That's what they want to do. But they gotta keep they squeaky clean image, so called. Don't be surprised if they close the eye of Russia trying to sneak in just so they can get in there.
Right.
Okay?
During the two-day debate, several member states pointed out that there is a broad and long-standing international opposition to the United States economic, commercial, and financial embargoes against Cuba, with many saying it runs counter to the UN Charter and undermines faith in multilateralism.
What they doing is against humanity. You had a point, Matham?
all of the, what do they call it? All of the things that they put into the United Nations for a nation not to be able to do that, they're breaking all of those rules.
Yeah, not
Saying that the United Nations was created for.
just like Netanyahu. Did I say it right this time?
Right, Netanyahu.
Just like Netanyahu is committing war crimes. Guess who else committing war crimes? Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Barack Obama. Donald Trump. Clinton. The list goes. We're gonna pull the articles up. He said Ford. We can go all the way. Damn right, back to Ford, Nixon. We go all the way back to the '60s with this, y'all. Did it start with Nixon or what before him?
This embargo right here started with
It started in '59, right?
Kennedy.
Kennedy, because the Soviet Union.
Because of
Yep.
the Soviet Union,
Yep.
it started with Kennedy and the Bay of Pigs. Remember when they tried to invade?
Word.
And what's his name? The president at the time was, what was the Cuban president? What's his name?
Castro.
Castro got rid of them
Yep.
invaders that America sent over there. That was the reason why everybody was on Kennedy's head about that.
Word.
They felt like they didn't get enough support when they sent those terrorists over there to take out Castro.
Right.
Oh yeah, it gets heavy.
Go ahead.
Stressing his country's firm opposition to the embargo, the Brazilian delegate said the opposition comes close to an international census. The only legitimate sanctions are those adopted by the Security Council, he said, adding that the sanctions on Cuba have generated significant losses in monetary terms and have also affected the rights of Cubans, especially the poorest. Inclusion of Cuba on the list of state sponsors of terrorism worsens the impact of the economic embargo, and he urged its removal from that list.
Come on, yo. Is it not clear? It is a good article. We can't sometimes we want to read the whole article in class. Sometimes be so good, but we gotta get. I can forward it to you. Yeah, I can forward it to you. But it goes like it's going to go in depth of what you seeing the Israelis doing, and I'm bringing this article out because to show how selective we become, how selective in our, our so-called liberation, all that, how selective we are with that, right? We see what's going on on these campuses. Go ahead. I do see that question. I think, which is off topic. I ain't really want to touch it. But I think late 70s, early 80s, if I'm not mistaken. To their brother about Commander Drahan. But it's absolutely selective, yo. And this is happening right under our noses for decades. We worried about Kendrick Lamar. I need some more water. Can I get a cold one? But why he get that? What we gotta recognize and understand is don't get caught up in the propaganda. Don't get caught up in the propaganda. Yeah, what's going on in the earth and on the Gaza Strip is absolutely horrible. But it's like we done forgot about your brother though. Right here around the corner, you forgot about him. Tribe of Manasseh, and all the northern tribes, brothers, man. All those brothers in Central and South America. Our liberation has become selective and a fad. It's something, a trend to follow. That's the word I'm looking for, Matham. It's become a trend. It's become a trend to follow this so-called liberation, this so-called act of liberation for the Palestinians. Has become a trend. It's not a fad. There you go. It's become a fad to follow this. And I'm not saying, what's going on with them Palestinians is right, but recognize for what it is. It's a goddamn fact. Because none of them goddamn Palestinians give a damn about nobody on the border. You know what I mean? Nor did those Israelis. Come on. Oh, I gotta get back to my bad. Go ahead. I got one more paragraph down, right? We just read that. We good here, right bone.
Chile's representative said that the embargo continued to create shortages, hardships, and suffering for all Cuban people.
Didn't I mention the Chileans earlier?
Yep.
Go ahead.
She was convinced that only through dialogue, not multilateral mechanisms, and international law can differences between states be addressed. She joined the call for taking Cuba off the list of state sponsors of terrorism, which exacerbates the blockade's impact.
Right now. Go ahead. You can finish.
The economic embargo is an anchorism for a bygone age and must be ended now.
Damn. Hold up. That was so intricate. It said it's an embargo is in a what? Is a what?
The economic embargo is an anchorism.
It's an anchorism. Holding down. Right. It's the
act of holding a country down with embargoes and all kinds of sanctions, so that country can't
prosper,
evolve,
develop
like it's supposed to.
Anchorism from a bygone age. Damn. Go ahead. Meaning this ancient. This not even practical for this time. Go ahead.
And must be ended now, once and for all, she said.
Hey, look, it's going to go into other countries stepping up. Iran said something on this. Hold on. It's a good read, but, man, y'all. All right, I'm going to go to Wiki now.
Look, it says, we share the Cuban people's dream of democracy. If they only knew what a democracy was.
Right.
Democracy was created so that one people could rule over all other people. We look at a democracy like it's not a communism or a communistic thing, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. The difference is that we know what communist is. We just don't know what a democracy is, and we finding out right now.
Exactly. Now, look, let me get this. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia. It's some good. Wikipedia ain't all bad.
No, it ain't.
It ain't all bad. Wikipedia gets a bad rap sometimes. But there's some good insights on this. I'm gonna share this. Now, I typed in, embargo, Cuba, United States embargo, but I want to get directly into we can read a little bit at the top, just we can read the introduction, we can do that. Just to get a little bit more insight of, the years that they in place certain embargoes and all the way up into the day, and until recent also. Let's go ahead. And then not only that, like as early as far back as Trump, he signed like 200 plus, documents, for restraints for Cuba. Now you can read this little introduction, but then I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna end on this. I'm gonna give a couple scriptures, and then I'm gonna give just like we read in the UN article. The impacts on here. It's going to show some impacts on here. Go ahead.
The United States embargo against Cuba prevents U.S. businesses and businesses organized under U.S. law or majority owned by U.S. citizens.
They stop right there. Meaning, I mentioned this earlier too. Like, if it's a United States company operating in Chile or operating in Panama, even though they're not physically in the United States, they can't do business with that neighboring country. Go ahead.
From conducting trade with Cuban interests. It is the most enduring trade embargo in modern history.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. first imposed an embargo on the sale of arms to Cuba on March 14, 1958.
Now listen, and that was just initially because of the Soviet Union.
Right.
I don't. Does it mention? I don't think it.
That's no.
Does it mention it here? Yeah.
This is around that time, around 1958, because remember when Kennedy came in the 60s, it was the early 60s.
Right.
And that's when the Bay of Pigs happened. I think it was in 1961 or 62. It could have been one of those when America sent those terrorists in there to try to get rid of Fidel Castro.
Right. So now listen. That's the whole deal. That's this though is the okay. Let me. I'm okay. Let me. The embargo was initially about an arms race with the Soviet Union, and that side of the earth. You understand? That's what it was initially about. Go ahead.
The U.S. first imposed an embargo on the sale of arms to Cuba on March 14, 1958.
But hold on. Also, this before I continue on. But Kennedy ain't want the Soviet Unions to know that we knew they was building a nuclear site in Cuba.
Right.
I had to mention the history.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
During the Fulgencio Batista regime, again on October the 19th, 1960.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, go ahead.
During the Fulgencio Batista regime, again on October the 19th, 1960, almost 2 years after the Cuban Revolution, had led to the disposition of the Batista regime. The U.S. placed an embargo on exports to Cuba, except for food and medicine, after Cuba nationalized the U.S.-owned Cuban oil refineries without compensation.
Mm-hmm.
On February 7, 1962, the embargo was extended to include almost all exports. The United Nations General Assembly has passed a resolution every year since 1992.
Every year since '92. Did we mention that earlier about the 31 joints? Go ahead, please.
Demanding the end of the U.S. economic embargo on Cuba, with the U.S. and Israel being the only nations to consistently vote against the resolution.
They the only ones. They getting outvoted for 30 years. They getting outvoted for 30 years.
How many nations get to vote?
All of them.
All of them. So that's 197 nations. And you get to vote against every one of them every year. And all it takes is one, but you getting two. And look who it's coming from. The two coming from United States and Israel. They gonna sink. They rose together, and they gonna sink together.
That's what we don't recognize and understand.
Right.
Like what's going on earth now, y'all think, oh, it's so horrible. Yeah, it is. But listen, it's for your sake, black man. They ain't nobody gonna win none of these wars. Oh, is Russia gonna come out or Ukraine? We gotta fund Ukraine. We gotta fund all eyes on Hamas. All eyes on Rafah. Arrest no, I can't. I'm not gonna get his name ever. Netanyahu. Arrest Netanyahu. International court this. International this. International. Y'all think all this rah-rah and all this turmoil and all this controversy in the earth is by mistake?
Right.
Like Trump tried to prolong it. He said, we're gonna get out of Afghanistan. He pulled them troops. Right. He got them troops out of Afghanistan like that. They going back, yo. They going back over there. Oh, we going to just send money? Go ahead. Sleepy Joe, listen, you better get on the job. You the what's the technical term? You the chief. They trying to prolong, and we're going to send money, and we're going to send weapons, and we're going to make sure they got Why? What has America ever cowered? Because they know what them boots on the ground mean. Them boots on the ground in Ukraine or Russia, that is going to initiate a full world war. China jumping in, 100%. China jumping in 100%. If we get them boots on the ground in Gaza, Iran jumping in 100%. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The United States puts boots on the ground. That allows China to go into Taiwan unmolested. Not only that, they can send half of their troops to Taiwan and half over
To Russia.
or
Gaza.
Gaza
Word.
and help out the Russians and help out
Iran.
Iran and the Palestinians. Because you know they all locked together.
Oh, 100%.
So with what did Captain Kahan say? America has too many irons in the fire.
Yep.
They extended themselves too far, and by extending yourself too far, you have weakened your own country.
Right.
If they put boots on the ground over there, don't be surprised if
It'll get some time. Yep. 100%. 100%.
surprised because America has extended
I, I remember growing up, somebody said, "Oh, America never be touched. This place will never be touched. This place here, look at Israel now. They scared as hell. They are retreating. They going to the northern. Y'all better listen, yo.
You know, they're already saying Hamas has already won.
Yeah.
Because he said for all of those Palestinians that's being they can barely count on two hands how many Hamas they killed.
Exactly.
When you destroy over 35,000 Palestinians, not to mention they've injured almost 100,000.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget about the camps.
Not to forget about that.
All right, you want to get some more of this wiki? Okay, now this is the impact.
Humanitarian and health impact. The embargo has been criticized for its effects on food, clean water, medicine, and other economic needs of the Cuban population.
This is basic needs for a population, for a community. That's why we be out here with the food drives every week, because it's an absolute necessity to have goods and services, some type of relief, even if it's just a little bit, something to get you to the next couple of days. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Them food drives that the Commander Johanna is pushing out here in these communities is an absolute necessity, man.
Right.
It's an absolute necessity. Not only is the word and the truth a necessity, but them tangible goods is also a necessity. Go ahead.
Criticism has come from both Fidel Castro and Raul Castro.
My bad. Go ahead.
Citizens and groups from within Cuba and international organizations and leaders. U.S. diplomat Lester D. Malroy wrote an internal memo on April 6, 1960, arguing in favor of an embargo to make the greatest inroads in denying money and supplies to Cuba, to decrease monetary and real wages, to bring about hunger, desperation, and overthrow of government.
You see that? They deliberately are committing war crimes to create chaos. And these things like this is happening all throughout the earth, all throughout Central and South America, yo. We know what the CIA and FBI was doing down there. To fund what? Come on, go ahead.
Some medical scholars outside Cuba have linked the embargo to shortages of medical supplies and soap, which have resulted in a series of medical crises and heightened levels of infectious diseases. Medical scholars have also linked the embargo.
This is an absolute war crime. This is yo. I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna get one scripture after this. Go ahead. You had something to say on that?
Yeah, do you see what we just read is the same thing that America is doing to so
100%.
We have embargoes placed on us. We have been placed, listen, denying money and supplies and decreased monetary and real wages to bring about hunger, desperation, and to overthrow the government.
That's every ghetto.
We have overthrown ourselves because of the sanctions and embargoes that have been placed on us in America. The conditions that have been created in America to hold us hostage and do us just what America does to the countries that they feel like are out of line with them.
Come on, go ahead.
Some medical scholars in Cuba have linked the embargo to shortages of medical supplies of soap, which have resulted in a series of medical crises and heightened levels of infectious diseases. Medical scholars have also linked the embargoes to epidemics of specific diseases, including neurological disorders.
And can I say something real quick on that last? This is a nation that puts the people in a state of desperation. When you put into a point of desperation, that's when crimes start to happen.
Right.
That's why I say desperation and overthrow of government, because they're so desperate to eat, so desperate to get the basic necessities of life. Go ahead. I had to point that out.
Right. Including neurological disorders and blindness caused by poor nutrition.
Come on.
An article written in 1997 suggests malnutrition and disease resulting from increased food and medicine prices have affected men and the elderly in particular due to Cuba's rationing system, which gives preferential treatment to women and children. In 1997, the American Association for World Health stated that the embargo contributed to malnutrition, poor water access, lack of access to medicines and other medical supplies, and concluded that a humanitarian catastrophe.
And a humanitarian catastrophe. Y'all talking about liberation. I don't think y'all know y'all. It's so much stuff to be liberal about, right? You don't know what to choose from. You just choose the most popular one. But this been happening for the last 3 decades, though, right? But you was cool with that because you had your Thanksgiving dinner. You was cool with it because you get to drink your coffee in the morning, get in your nice car, and just be American. It wasn't thrown in your face like the Palestinian conflict.
Right.
It wasn't thrown in your face. What's the next holiday up? What is it, June? Father's Day? No, not High Holy Day.
You see me, right? I don't even remember that other stuff, right?
God.
I think it would be the 4th of July.
Oh my gosh. Y'all gonna be celebrating so-called Independent Day. Meanwhile, we standing on the bones of the Mexicans, though. We stand on the bones of the North American Indians, though, the Seminole Indians, though, right? You about this liberation talk because it's popular. Now, look at yourself, America. Look at yourself. Look how deliciously you living, right? People were unalive for that. People were put in the grave for that. Now, you're trying to stop it again, but you act like the goddamn North American Indians don't exist. You act like the goddamn Mexican is cattle. You act like the Seminole Indians, all these brothers right here on this wall right here don't even exist. You act like what you've done in the earth didn't happen. You close your eyes to your crimes. But you looking at the goddamn Israelis. You should look at yourself. Okay, go ahead. You was at a humanitarian catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right there.
A humanitarian catastrophe has been averted only because the Cuban government has maintained a high level of budgetary support for a healthcare system designed to deliver primary and preventative medicine to all its citizens. That's free healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
In a country under embargo.
Forget about it. Come on, y'all.
So you can't tell me America
Couldn't do
did
it.
not have free healthcare.
100%. Go ahead.
The AAWH found that travel restrictions embedded in the embargo have limited the amount of medical information that flows into Cuba from the United States. If I may, sir.
Please.
If you don't remember, when Hurricane Katrina happened, they tried to send from Cuba, tried to send a whole lot of doctors and nurses over here to help.
Word.
They had the embargo stop them,
Mm.
and they wouldn't let them come over here. They were trying to help the so-called blacks and Hispanics
Right.
down there in New Orleans.
Right. Remember that NOLA, New Orleans?
Yeah.
Your brothers got stopped from helping you in your crisis.
Yep.
Surely the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Go ahead. We're gonna end it on this last article.
Okay, let's see. Since 2000, the embargo has explicitly excluded the acquisition of food and medicine.
Jeez. Jeez. Now imagine in your city, they stopping trucks on 95. They stopping trucks on 95 talking about, no, you gotta go around. Go around 695, come back down 95, and go down into DC. Just put it on the local level. And he stopping food and medical aid into Baltimore City. They doing this to an entire country. Surely the oppressor is the devil. Give me Zephaniah 2:1. We'll end it on that.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Our nation now what?
O nation not desired.
Yeah, man, we talking that liberational talk. Oh, free Palestine, free this, free that. We the nation is. Why they not saying free Cuba? You say free Cuba, you labeled as a communist.
Right.
You labeled as a traitor. You say free the Mexicans or liberation for the Mexicans. You pro. I don't even know what they would call that. Salagi.
Pro-Hispanic.
Pro-Hispanic.
No. Anti.
Anti-American. You anti-American if you say, let them in across the border. You anti-American.
Anti-American.
You understand? Just like they put them labels on them protesters, just like they put them labels on them protesters for Palestine,
Right.
they call them what? Anti-Semitic.
Right.
They call them violent. They call them a lot of bywords. But when it comes to Israel, nobody even considers us a people. Not even thought about. Meanwhile, at the same time, we in dog cages on the border.
Yep.
We being starved and denied medical supplies for 30 more than 50 years
Right.
in Cuba. Go ahead. Let's finish off Zephaniah.
You want to drop down to 2?
Yeah.
Before the decree bring forth.
Before the decree, look around you, man. It's looking like it's about to go down. So it's time for us to gather together. We that nation that's not desired. You understand? Go ahead.
Before the day pass as a chase.
Go ahead.
Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you.
Before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you. You better wake the hell up, black man, and separate from this beast and don't be so goddamn naive, yeah? Don't be so sleep in this state right that we in, man. Don't be so swindled by this age in society, you understand? And that's going to conclude the class. With that, I'm going to pass the class off to Priest and Officer Batham Shakalia. Clap it up.
You think sir,
Come.
if you may send me that
I got you. It's the UN. I got you.
All right. That was heavy right there, boy. Oh man.
I might run that out of cat on Saturday.
Hey. If you, oh man, let me say, Listen, we got to gather ourselves together because nobody's going to look out for Israel but Israel. That's why that last scripture he brought out, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. We have to understand that we are a nation of people not desired. And because we are not desired, we got to come together with ourselves. We got to bring ourselves up. Even in the book of Acts, it talks about coming together, bringing ourselves together, coming together, pulling ourselves up, and supplying our people. You understand? We got black faces in high places that need to stand up and understand who we are. You understand? They need to show loyalty. Just like these oppressors show loyalty, just like these heathen nations show loyalty to each other. That's the only way we rise. We got to show loyalty to our own people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You understand? With that, security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. If a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. After another 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry, tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means tenth in the Hebrew, and is pronounced ma'ishara. A tenth of any penny of every increase give to the Treasury Department or priest fund, or teacher, priest fund. A free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Up and coming Holy Convocation. We have the closing of the Feast of First Fruits, which is, what's that, the 21st? 17th. The 17th. It's May 17th, which is in 2 weeks from tonight.
June 17th.
Yeah, June 17th. Oh, Salakia. June 17th, which is 2 weeks from tonight. Remind Akim Aquathium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for events and material. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, then he needs to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, pants, shirts, headbands, and scarves. And with that, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Saw, stand. Turn to the teacher, men of Israel. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbarakatha. Yad Yamata. Class dismissed. Right. I got it right here.